Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with another obituary. It's been quite a week. On the 22nd, of April 2026, in case this is the year, 85,306, we lost Michael Tilson Thomas. And on the same day, we lost Ruth Slenczynska, the legendary pianist. She lived to be 101. Talk about a fulfilling life and a fulfilled life, but it didn't start out that way. Slenczynska rose to prominence again about 4 or 5 years ago when they released her first recording in 60 years. She was a remarkable, remarkable person and an artist of, mystery. We're going to talk about the mystery in a moment. But essentially, she was an incredible child prodigy. She was created to be a child prodigy. Let's put it that way. Since she was 101 when she passed away, you gather when she was born, her father was a Polish emigre violinist who decided she was going to become a great musician. And he basically tortured her as a child sadistically for the first 15 years of her life before she could get away from him and make her own way in the world. She received an enormous amount of attention for playing, like Rachmaninoff when she was 4 for Rachmaninoff. She was known as Rachmaninoff's last living pupil when she passed away. But she wasn't satisfied. Her father wasn't satisfied with Rachmaninoff as a teacher. Her teachers included Schnabel and Egon Petri and Backhouse at one point or another. Teachers meaning like, she had a lesson, but, she was associated with all of the major names. Just absolutely insane what her father made her do. Alfred Cortot. And she always felt, and she wrote a biography called Forbidden Childhood in the 1950s about the horrible treatment she endured at the hands of her father. And let me just say, when she was 15, she broke with him and she went to college. She went to UC Berkeley. She got her degree. And about 10 years after that, she started playing the piano again. She took a position teaching at Southern Illinois University and spent the rest of her life there. She did concertize. She had a very active concert career and performing career. She made about 10 recordings for Decca, which were reissued in a box thanks to Cyrus Mayer Homji and Australian Eloquence. Yay, Cyrus. Good move. That showed that she was a formidable musician by any standard, but she always maintained, and this is what's so interesting, that she was well trained. That what she did was not because of any innate musical genius, that she was not a prodigy, which actually is probably, it's not a bad thing to not be. But she insisted that she was simply trained like an animal. She was trained like a monkey by her father. And so she was able to do these things, not because she had, an innate understanding or feeling for music, but because she had the crap beaten out of her to do what she was told to do, which is not something that you want to make the basis of your career for music, for a career in music. Somewhere, even though, we want to be analytical about these things, there has to be a place for love, for sincere love of the music. She had that. She had that sincere love of the music, but the one thing that she did, that we should thank her for what she didn't do, was make more records after those initial 10. She did not. She only made one more recording. Well, there were a couple recordings that came out on like Ivory Classics and some smaller labels. She did do a handful of recordings. But essentially, in terms of her presence as a major performing musician sort of thing, she didn't work for any other major label other than Decca for her last recording, which was a series of short works that sort of recapitulated her entire career, pieces that she loved. And it showed that she was still a pretty formidable musician at the age of 100 or 99 or whatever she was when she made that record. It was pretty impressive for her age. Was it astounding, stunning pianism? No, it wasn't. But that's why it's a good thing she didn't make more records. Slenczynska was the kind of person who confounds the musical world and confounds critics. We place such a premium on the past, because classical music is largely about the past. And she was a gateway to the past. She was Rachmaninoff's last student. And, the fact that she worked with Cortot and Schnabel and Rachmaninoff and Petri and Friedman and all these people, what of them do we find in her? It really begs the question, doesn't it? She would probably say none of it. She was herself. And the great thing about her is that she had, forget about musical ability. You can tell reading her biography or just, looking at what she said over the years, she was smart. She was a really smart lady. She was forced to be, but she was. She had natural intelligence. So she knew who she was. She knew what she wanted to do. She had the presence of mind when she broke with her father to keep what she loved of the music and make it her own. And if that meant having a less illustrious career and not capitalizing on what must have been nothing but trauma of her childhood, to try and sell herself as Rachmaninoff's last living pupil, or Friedman's last pupil, or Cortot's pupil, or Schnabel's, or all of them. She didn't do it. She did music for herself and her audience, those who could appreciate what she did. She was very highly respected among pianists. She always was. She wasn't treated as a flash-in-the-pan artist, largely because she decided simply to become a music teacher and, have the career that she shaped. She was quite friendly with Earl Wild. In his biography, he talks about her and, mentions the fact that they used to hang out and talk about which of them had the more horrible father. And, and Earl Wild respected her greatly, which really, I think, says something, because if you read Earl Wild's memoirs, he doesn't mince words and has no patience for people who he doesn't think were serious musicians. She was. She absolutely was. But we were spared the circus, the media circus that would have attended, her career had it been more PR based on who she was and what she did. She was able to focus really on music and not on non-essentials like who her teachers were. And she there isn't anything in her career or her life or her biography or her recordings that begs us to compare her to those great pianists of the past. She wouldn't have wanted it. She didn't want it. She wanted to be known for herself. And if that meant that she did not have a huge career, or that she didn't make lots of recordings, and that she didn't exploit her career the way her father exploited her when she was young, well, good for her. Because Slenczynska had, above all other qualities, she had talent. She did. She had talent. She wasn't a prodigy, but she had talent. She had musicality. She had, as I said, great intelligence. But beyond all of that, she had integrity. She really did. She had a wonderful sense of herself, of what music meant to her, of what she could do with it, what she wanted to do with it, and what she didn't want to do. And she had a long and very, very fulfilling life doing it her way. And I admire that. I admire that tremendously. So it's fair that we should be remembering her, like I said, for all the things in her life that she didn't do, as well as for the things that she did. She was a class act, period. So keep on listening, friends. Thanks for joining me. Take care.